What's up, guys? So it's Saturday. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. Fortunately, I'm here at work, but it is my lunch break. I do want to create a quick video, and this video is going to be on a topic that I get a lot of questions on. It's how I tune my car, what I have to hook up my computer to my ECU, and what this connectors and this and that. I'm going to quickly go through my setup. It's pretty messy. I'm looking at it right now. It's down here on the floorboard. It's a little, I'm going to say unorganized. Once I'm done, I can like clean it up. You can mount this ECU in a stock location. But real quick, let me give you a rundown on my setup and how I tune my car. So down there, I have my P28 ECU. And in my case, the P28 ECU, it's an OBD1 ECU. And it's important because this ECU does support vtec. There are some other OBD1 ECUs that do support vtec, but not all of them do. So be careful with that. Make sure whatever ECU you have supports it, and if not, there's ways to like adapt it or convert it over to support vtec. Excuse me. So what I'm running here is products from Motes. What is it? Motes.net. So down here we have the Ostrich 2.0. This connects with this band here. This goes straight to the chip socket because this P28 did come socketed. Okay, you have to get a socket soldered into your board. This came with it from HA Motorsports. It was already done for me. Instead of having a chip in there, like a chip that has a file loaded into it and inserted into the computer, this goes directly to that socket. It just plugs into the chip socket. And the tune, if you want to call it that, is saved into, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. It's saved into the Ostrich. It has an internal memory. It saves it in here. There's a battery in here, but it lasts years. I've had this thing for probably 2 years now, and it's still good to go, but it does have a replaceable battery. So yeah, this takes the place of the chip, and why this is so cool is you don't have to keep burning chips, like burning chip after chip after chip to get your tune right. You just leave this plugged in, and it goes USB to your laptop, and you can connect to whatever software you're using. So this is really cool because, you know, obviously it makes it so much simpler. It takes the hassle of having to burn chips away. And if this is for your personal car like mine, I just leave it plugged in 24/7. This thing's been plugged in for years now. When I'm done with it, I just put that up there. I tuck the Ostrich in the glove box, hide all the wires, whatever. So that's really important for that. Makes life a lot easier. What else makes your life a lot easier is this. This is a Motes Extreme Hue Log, and this is what they call a data logger. So basically this plugs into the ECU as well. With this cable, goes to there's another socket in there, it plugs in there, and then again, you got another USB going to your laptop. So this is like my USB from the Ostrich. It's called an emulator. It emulates the chip, right? So this is my Ostrich. This is my data logger. And this is trash. So what the data logger does, it allows you to connect to the ECU, and it shows your readings live in real time. It shows you the parameters and what's going on right now. It's pretty much, I'm going to say a must-have. You can do it without it, but it is a pain because you're going to have to be watching your vacuum gauge, boost gauge, your AFR, and kind of guess where you're at on the map. Like, for example, like I'm at, I don't know, let's say 10 PSI. You got to look at the AFR. You got to come in here, and if, I don't have any boost tables, but you have to kind of, it's a pain in the butt. I have done it that way. That's a hassle, okay? So, yeah, get this data logger. Every time I try to make a video. So as far as software, this is what I'm using right now. This is Honda Tuning Suite, but initially right off the bat I was using Chrome. It's really simple and free, but so is Honda Tuning Suite. It got released maybe a little over a year ago. It's also free, but man, it has every feature you could possibly want in tuning software for your Honda. This thing does anything and everything. It's awesome. To put it simple, I guess. But anyways, yeah, this is all my hardware, my software, you know, and if you got your tune absolutely dialed in, you can go ahead and, you know, you get your chip burner, you burn your chip, and it'll be permanently inserted into the socket of the ECU, and you can unplug all the cables. But yeah, this stuff just stays hooked up all the time. If I had multiple Hondas, I would get a chip burner so I can make it tune like permanent to the ECU. Well, not permanent, but you know, more, I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. Let's go for a quick drive and show you how the software works. So a quick rundown on getting your tune set up is set your target AFRs. This is like my all motor set. I'm just 14.7. This is all like cruising part throttle. And wide open throttle, it actually comes negative 3.9 point. It never comes out this far. This is more like when you're getting into boost. For me, all motor pulling, it's usually these two columns right here. So I set those at 13.0. Set your targets, and when you're out cruising around, it'll show you how far you're off. And anything, if you're below 5%, you're doing good. It's basically, it's green is good. If you're within 5%, keep doing what you're doing, fill in the blanks. You can start to build curves. You see, they build a pattern. Once you start figuring out all the tables here, they start to get kind of consistent. You know you're doing good. A good sign to look out for is wherever your motor makes peak torque, that's where you're going to need the most amount of fuel to reach your target AFR. So in this motor, it's like 5,500 RPMs. You can see it needs more fuel to reach the target AFR, and then it dies off. So let me go into my VTEC table. My VTEC table, it's going to look a little crazy, but none of this is used. This is only, let's see, 4,000, about 4,500 on up. This is where it sees this table. So none of this down here ever comes into play. But same concept. See this peak of the mountain? That's going to be peak torque. That's about, I'm going to say 5,600 RPMs. And then the fuel, the need for fuel dies off quickly just to maintain that 13.0 AFR. Right now, it could use some tweaking. I recently did a cam install. I installed a comp cam, stage 2 NA cam on this. So I do need to go over it, make some adjustments. So to go over timing, what's interesting about timing is it's basically the opposite of your fuel curve. Okay, where you're going to experience engine killing detonation is at your peak torque. That is where your engine is most likely to explode, okay? To put it lightly. So basically, where your peak torque is, for example, like 5,600, you're going to want conservative timing right there. So let's go to my VTEC table to kind of show you my particular setup here. So yes, so this is wide open throttle and VTEC. None of the other stuff gets used. Really, I don't know. I think 4,500, maybe 5,000. So right here, peak torque, 5,000 to 6,000. You see the dip. I took 2 degrees out. And then as you start revving up to your rev limiter, you can start to add a timing back in. So like right here, I'm doing, when it goes into VTEC, I'm at, let's say 28 degrees, and it dips down to 26. When it's getting peak torque and peak fuel, that's where detonation is most likely. And then once it gives higher up in the RPM range, 28 and 29 to help it reach peak power, peak RPM. But yeah, be careful in the peak torque area. I know I keep saying that, but that's where you're most likely to experience detonation is right in here. That's the danger zone. So okay, yeah, let's go for a drive and see how far my tables are off, because like I said, I need to go over this and let's go hit it and see what we can do. One quick point I want to make is make sure your car is at operating temperature, your engine coolant is at operating temp, your IAT is in a range where it's normally going to be at. So you want to adjust your AFRs and stuff at your normal operating range, and then when you go for like cold starts and stuff like that, you can adjust your cold start fuel trims and stuff like that. You're gonna need to add some fuel because it's gonna be lean when it's cold, and also it helps warm up faster and things like that. And when it's really cold outside or when the air is cold, you're gonna need to add a little bit of fuel. But before you do any of that, you need to get everything looking good in the normal temperature range. But anyways, yeah, I'm gonna let my car warm up before I beat on it. Hopefully it doesn't blow up, and let's see if it stays in one piece. really nice about this software is, like, I go and make a pull, it's data logging, it's logging all of my AFR readings, so that I don't have to be looking at the computer here. I make a pull, I can pull over and see how my car behaved and make adjustments and do it again. I don't have to watch the computer while I'm doing these pulls, so it is safer on the driver's part. Whereas if you did not have the data logger, you would have to be watching your gauges and the computer to try and figure out exactly where your car is on the tables. But none of that is needed if you have a data logger. That's why it's so important. It just makes it so much easier. So right now I'm just pulling over. I did notice that I was lean in my VTEC table. Yeah, check this out. Everything was looking pretty good. A little rich actually, just a little bit, but I'm happy with all these numbers here. And then here, bam, it gets really lean. From this point on up, it's very lean. It don't even tell me, it'll recommend a percent to add a fuel. Like right there, it's saying 6%. So what I'll probably do here is add 5% in all the cells. Cells are like the individual cells. Sometimes I'm gonna say tables, but the whole thing is a table. So I'm gonna throw 5% in this whole section. Go again, and yeah, let's just get closer to that target AFR. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is go ahead and clear my recordings. So I have a blank slate again. I'm going to go out and make a pull and see how much closer we are to getting that 13.0 target AFR. Just making sure, yeah, my target is 13.0. So let's go ahead and make a pull. Let's go do a pull. Yeah, the car feels much better. So I'm pulled over here. I'm gonna come into my VTEC table and see how far I'm off. It looks like at the latest point it was 13.6. It's a good improvement. Definitely going in the right direction. Alright, so I bet with this last adjustment, we're probably going to be as close as we're going to get it. Let me clear the recordings. And, yeah, if I don't know, within a couple percent of that 13.0 AFR, I mean, you can only get so good. I could like fine tune it, make some tiny little tweaks here and there, but man, it's crazy going from like a, what was it, 14 point something to around 13.0. It really wakes up the car. It revs a lot stronger. There's something that I have to talk about because I get so many comments on this. They say go get a road tune, go get a dyno tune. Street tuning is, I don't know, shit. Apparently that's what a lot of people think. But I have always preferred a street tune over a dyno tune. Everyone thinks a dyno tune is the only way to tune your car. It's not. It's, in my opinion, it's not the best way to even tune your car. To me, a dyno tuning is for a company that's trying to pump out these cars. They tune, for example, like I don't want to even use a shop as an example, but like if you're tuning a lot of a certain car, you're dyno tuning them, you get them in and out. It's an easy way to get them in and out. It is safer. You're off the street. It's faster. It's more convenience. It's, there are a lot of positives to dyno tuning, but it's more for like a business trying to pump out tunes and making money. When time is money, hell yeah. Dyno tunes, or it's at, if you're a shop owner, that, you know, if I had a space, if I had a shop anywhere to put a dyno, you bet your ass I would get a dyno. But if you care about your car, like if you want the best of the best tune, not just some quick throwing together shit, that's another thing on a dyno tune. it's for wide open throttle. It's like wide open throttle pulls. It's not accurately measuring the load of the car traveling down the freeway. Yeah, the dyno's loading it up, but it's not the same. You're not getting the right IATs. You know, if you're in a shop with a fan blowing to keep the radiator cool, it's not the same as being out. Like, say you live in a 90, 100 degree climate, or 30, 40 degree, and outside it's going to be colder than it is inside a shop. It's not the same. And believe it or not, air rushing in, going 100 miles an hour, 120, it's going to start to change some fuel trims. You're going to get some positive air pressure. It's just, you can't replicate tuning on the street. It is more dangerous. It's more risky. There's more liability, especially if you're a shop owner doing it for customers. More liability. You can get in trouble for doing a tune on somebody else's car. Nobody wants that. Like, if it's your own car, you might justify risking it. But in my opinion, a quality tune is always done on the street or at the track. At the track is where it's at, you know, for wide open throttle, all out stuff. But like for your part throttle stuff, cruising around town, nothing's going to beat driving around town like you would any other day and tuning it that way. You want it tuned for how it's going to be driven every day. I mean, unless it's a full out race car, then who cares? Yeah, tune on the dyno. It's just going to see wide open throttle stuff anyway. But even the other stuff I said might come into play, you know, 140, 150 mile an hour winds rushing in through the front of the car and this and that. And okay, for the most important thing, in my opinion, to get the power that you're looking for is getting the AFR where it needs to be. That's the most important thing. The timing, you can only go so far with the timing. You can't, it's like the AFR, like on a naturally aspirated engine, everyone has their safe range, right? Like on an all motor setup, my safe range is like 12.8 to 13.1. If you're in that window, you're good. It's going to fluctuate here and there, but if you're in like 12.8, 13.1, in my opinion, you're good to go. And the timing can be tricky if you do not know what you're doing. There's a lot of ways to know if your timing is good. You can check spark plugs. You go wide open throttle, and like I said, your detonation is most likely to happen where you need the most fuel, or if you're like boosted. Boosted cars actually make a lot of torque really down low, so you got to be careful with aggressive timing in the lower RPMs, because boosted engines actually pump out a lot of torque. They're going to need more fuel, and that's where detonation is likely to happen. So anyways, yeah, you can read your spark plugs. So what you do is you go wide open throttle where you think you would experience detonation. You got to turn the car off. You pull over, pull a plug, you read it. Shit's gonna stick to the ceramic or the white shit of the plug. Shit's gonna stick to that. That's how you know you have detonation. You can get chassis ears. This is real big in the mechanic industry. They're microphones you mount anywhere in the car that has. Some of them have headphones, this and that, to detect. You got to know what it sounds like. God, every time I try to make a video, I swear, but you can hear the detonation. In this car, I accidentally ran a little bit too much timing part throttle, and I could hear it pinging just cruising around because it has a full exhaust. It's not stupid loud. I could hear that I have too much timing, so I know to dial it back a notch. I'm too aggressive, bring it back. But typically, like in cars that have like knock sensors and shit, and that actually throw a knock sensor code for detonation, like you take it to the max and then you back it off a degree or two just to know you're safe. But in this, I found the limit. I heard the fucking thing detonating and I took out some degrees. That's not the safest way to do it, but I was like, I added timing. And I was like, oh shit, I hear detonation. That's the sound of engines blowing up. That's like the precursor to shit going wrong. So I took out some timing. I know I'm good. But yeah, that's okay. This was a 5-minute rant. I'm watching the timer go now, but I get so many comments on take it to a dyno, get a real tune. This is a real tune. All right. But anyways, if you like this video, like it, comment below if you have any questions or want to see a video on any other topic. Like this one started off as how I tune my car. I kind of got a little sidetracked. But yeah, hope you liked this video. Subscribe. See you in the next video. Later.